Hi everyone. You would have probably seen me in a few ET online videos up until now. It's what I do as part of my job. My job. You have no idea how much meaning those two words in tandem carry right now. Not everyone has been lucky enough to be spared a pay cut or a layoff. Not everyone, on being asked, so what do, will have a definitive answer. And that is not a pretty picture. Almost 1.9 crore salaried Indians have lost their jobs since April 2020, according to CMIE data. Although data also shows that recovery is underway, to hope that all those jobs will be retrieved is far too wishful a thought right now. In this video, with the help of expert Ms. Rituparna Chakraborty, co-founder and EVP, Team Lease Services, we will try to understand what job seekers can learn from the COVID crisis and how they can better protect and cushion themselves against such a crisis in the future. So let's get to it. So, how long do you think the impact of the crisis on the job market will last? Is the storm behind us, or are companies, employees yet to see more pain?
It's still very difficult to first and foremost assess whether we are at the beginning of this pandemic or we are in the middle or towards the end. And because the future still seems extremely unmodelable and unknowable, I don't think we should actually right now spend too much time in thinking when the recovery is going to happen, because I don't think we have any clue, to be honest. As a head of business, I'm not even wasting time trying to figure out when the recovery is going to happen. Let's say there are a few sectors which are doing well right now. There are a few areas where we see opportunities. Let's just try and maximize within those boundaries of opportunity.
How drastically have things changed? If someone is looking for a job now or in the next couple of months, what should they know about the new normal and adapting to it?
There are few sectors definitely which are not as adversely affected as others, and there are few sectors who, if I may say so, are beneficiaries of the pandemic. However, even the sectors which are beneficiaries are being cautious. So we recently did this. I mean, we have this. It's kind of a legacy report which has been coming out for the last 15 years called the Team Lease Employment Outlook Report. And if I were to look at that, it clearly suggests that even sectors like healthcare and pharma, which is supposed to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of pandemic, also we are seeing that out of 10 employers surveyed, there are about 3 who are coming out openly showing their intent to hire into the future. So there is a element of caution because everybody is trying to kind of preserve the future as much as possible and not get carried away. However, I think for somebody who is trying to look for a job, I mean, I'm very clear. I think it's about whether we can focus on few areas or few skills which can essentially help them prepare for the future. And I believe that if any youth or any individual is leaving aside their sectoral and functional preferences or job role preferences, if they are molding themselves towards building these following skills and abilities, they'll definitely be able to get adjusted to what's happening around us. Number one, of course, is digital literacy. I mean, it's a basic operating system. If you're not digitally active, native, and you do not have thorough understanding, it is going to be a problem because there's going to be no business into the future which will not be heavily dependent on rampant digitalization. So that's number one. And number two would be learnability. I think gone are the days when we thought that there is an end point of our learning or our study. We live in a world where we need to actually marinate lifelong learning in our way of going about doing our business. And if we can exhibit that, I think we'll be able to respond to any change that happens in our environment. Agility and ability to handle ambiguity. Well, I think handling ambiguity is a skill that many youth in India since birth are used to, but I think today more than ever before, that agility would come into play, because like we don't know what's going to happen the next day, and hence do we have the ability to respond to whatever's happening today and make the best out of it, and hence agility. Coding skills, a lot of people think that coding is for engineers and people with, you mean, you have to be differently ordained to pick up the skill. I think coding again is becoming a life skill, and it's much easier. It's not as complicated as we thought earlier coding skills are. I mean, it's so easy to do that. We can do it online. Fungibility, I think specialization or trying to be, okay, I'm good at this only, or this is the only type of job I can do. I think time has gone for saying stuff like that. We should actually be able to identify what are those set of skills which we have, which can be used in different kinds of job roles. And of course, flexibility. I think there is no such thing called lifelong guarantee when it comes to livelihood options and employability. And hence, one should be open to all kinds of arrangements, whether it's a permanent job, which is always aspirational, a temp job, or a gig work, or a project. It could be anything. I think if one possesses these, you should be able to handle whatever comes your way in future.
What kind of jobs and companies do you think will now boom? I remember we used to say digital will be the next big thing. Now digital is the thing. So similarly, what will be the next big thing? And which are those sectors where there will be where there is a lot more pain left in terms of job security?
If I were to talk about the sectors which are definite beneficiaries of the current situation, not beneficiaries, or rather they are not impacted, because sometimes it sounds a little odd when I say beneficiary. So I think healthcare and pharma definitely is one area. E-commerce is one sector. Essential services retail is another sector. In spite of a long phase of slump, one sector which has now emerged as a clear winner is telecommunications, and especially in the back-end side, not so much in the front end, because I don't think much is happening in front-ending roles. A little bit of FMCG, which is around processed foods, staples, and stuff like that. Sectors which are going to be gradually coming out and emerging would be BFSI, would be consumer durables. The sectors that you should just completely stay away from at this point of time, needless to say, is aviation, hospitality, travel. Media is also under a slump. I think any kind of outdoor entertainment. Yeah, I think that, of course, agriculture, again, one big beneficiary. So from a sectoral perspective, these are the job roles. These are the sectors. From job roles perspective, I think one of the jobs which are maximum in demand, and we are seeing that a lot of people from different sectors are moving into it, is actually delivery agents. I know it may not be aspirational, but when you do not have jobs at hand, it may not be a bad short-term stopgap arrangement. Average compensation, if I were to include incentives and reimbursements, will go up to almost 25,000 to about 30,000 based on city locations and demand. Of course, there is a lot of requirement coming for lab technicians, phlebologists. We also expect surge in domestic requirement for nurses. And there is a huge spike in requirement for collection agents and telecallers. We believe that the evergreen skill sets at the moment, I shouldn't use the word evergreen, skills which are highly in demand, and that's a technical skill set, but demand all across sectors would be data science, data analysis, Hadoop developers, iOS and Android developers. I think these skill sets definitely. Educational professionals, because a lot education as a sector, online education is doing well. So again, I think there are various job roles that are emerging there. So I don't know whether, I'm just trying to throw some paint on the wall on what we are seeing based on activities at our end.